Morning all, how are we doing? Excuse me, I got a bit of a cough. COVID cough this morning. Can't get rid of it. This cough just goes on and on and on forever. Right. Ooh, cricket's noisy this morning. So this morning, CPI. We had CPI which came out as expected for the pound, so that's good. Not any more inflation than we were anticipating. There were people forecasting up to 10% on the CPI. We didn't get there, so that's good. So pretty as expected. So impact on the pound, not a massive impact. We've had a bit of strength on the pound. I've got a couple of shorts on the pound odd at the moment, so it's had a little bit of a push up of the CPI figures, but nothing dramatic. So pretty much kind of where it was. It's just grinding up slowly at the moment. We've broken out of this level up here, so hopefully this is just a false breakout. Morning ladder. So this triple top, basically they took liquidity from it, pulled down, everybody shorted it, so they've come up and taken out the liquidity of everybody that shorted that move this morning. We've got some nice rejection wicks, so it's not particularly strong closes on any of these candles. We've just taken out the highs again, so hopefully we get a drop on that one this morning. Closed out a few trades this morning on CAD yen. What's the date? 22nd. Yeah. So closed out CAD yen yesterday for those not in the Telegram group. Closed out some profits yesterday. Closed out the Euro US dollar, one of the Euro US dollar longs. I closed out both of my CAD yen longs yesterday, so I got flat on that one because obviously I've got US dollar yen long, so I've already got a yen trade on. This morning closed out Euro CAD. Sorry, Euro CAD, Euro US dollar. So one short off of that. This is the level of support I was looking at on the 4 hour. Which we slammed through yesterday, and then we sort of pushed up, retested it and rejected it. We've pushed up and retested multiple times, so I kind of wanted to get out of one because there are buyers in the market. Obviously they're getting rejected, they're getting stomped on at the moment, but the fact that there were so many buyers pushing up, what I didn't want was this big move up. I didn't want this to be the area the buyers stepped in. So I took one off just in case. I was going to monitor it this morning, but it looks like we're pretty bearish at the moment at the open. So yeah, so looking for continuation shorts on that somewhere down into this area. Obviously, ultimately looking for continuation drops to the downside on that. So yeah, and Euro US dollar, I took one off of that. Short. Just wanted to get out of some, really, stick it in the bank. So yeah, pretty good day yesterday, 1.26%, 0.5% banked so far this morning. I've got 0.39 running. Pound odd's the only thing that's in drawdown, everything else is in profit. So going pretty well at the moment. My target is usually 2.5% a week, 10% a month. So on target for the month. Obviously we're only we're only on Tuesday, so Wednesday? No, we're on Wednesday. Yeah, so yeah, all going pretty well. I'm going to be adding into the Euro US dollar as well. I'm looking for this to pull back a little bit actually, and then going to add into it as we drop. Morning, Evil, Jesse. So we'll have a look at all the FX pairs. We'll quickly run through the indices first. I had a really good day yesterday afternoon. Banked 2.2 on S&P. I got into the S&P. So I was trading that yesterday. Right, so DAX, big drop overnight. We've obviously got a gap here, so the market opened at 7 there. So there's your open. We closed way higher, so there's a gap back up to there. So there's quite a big gap this morning to fill to the upside. Whether or not they do that, don't know. The market's pretty heavy if you look at the NAS. So remember yesterday I was saying what I was looking for was a push up on this candle, and then obviously start our next leg down, which we seem to have started overnight. So we'll see if that continues, but I've got a feeling we probably want to pull back up a little bit this morning, but you never know, this could just go straight out the gates today. So so all the indices, DAX, we had a lovely rejection candle put in, we pushed up, and a lovely shooting star, which is obviously rolled straight over this morning. So there's your 3-bar reversal, push up, shooting star or doji reversal. So if this daily candle ends anything like this, it's a lovely 3-bar reversal, which is a sign of a next leg down. NAS, we've pushed up and rejected this morning. S&P, same thing, and the Dow, the same thing. The FTSE has done a very similar thing to the DAX, didn't quite get the pullback yesterday. But yeah, all looking good for shorts, continuation shorts. So it's whether or not this morning we push up. We may well get a little rally this morning ahead of a drop, basically, but we'll see. Bitcoin, still dying, Bitcoin. 20k, everybody said, oh, it's bounced off 20k. Yeah, it's because everybody said, I'm going to buy it if it gets down to 20k. Doesn't mean it's going to bounce. So there's your 20k. I'm calling it down to 5. I think it's dead. I think crypto's dead. Not so much dead, it's just not, it's not getting taken up, is it? Can't go into the shop and spend crypto. And the Russians aren't helping. So yes, so I don't want to get involved in that. As far as I'm concerned, it's doing the same thing as all the rest of the indices at the moment. It's dropping. Gold. We're still in this holding pattern on gold. You can't really call it. We're in this nice balanced area. Don't know where we're going with it. It could go up, it could go down. I'd be a little bit more bullish on it. Morning, Stevie. At the moment, but I think the US dollar is going to strengthen up a little, which means we will probably see gold grind down. But it's got a life of its own, gold, so it does really what it wants to do. At the moment, buy it at the lows, sell it at the highs, until it stops doing that. Don't know with gold. Gold's just a mess. So a little bit of selling coming in at the open. I've added some more indices to the tick strike, basically. I've added the Dow and the Russell. They all do the same thing, but they all give you clues as to what each other's doing, so it's worth having them all, I think. Obviously the DAX is the one we're interested in this morning. Put that down there for a minute. Bit of a lackluster open at the moment. US markets are bearish by the looks of things. So if we get a push down on the US indices and that rejects, I think we'll probably be good for that pullback. Don't forget we've got this gap. Basically, potentially to fill this morning. If we can get it pushed down, then hopefully we'll get a pull back up, ready for a drop this afternoon, but we'll see. Looks bearish at the moment though, doesn't it? Falling out of bed. There's new lows on the Nasdaq, new lows on the S&P. So DAX is putting in new lows as well. Tricky one this morning. So I would wait for the opening range breakout really, and just see which way we break after the first 5 minutes. So see if we pull back up above these highs after the 5 minute break. Oops, all right. Just let that settle in. Oh, I'm on M15. Oops. There we go, M5. Okay, so all that initial selling is being absorbed by the buyers at the moment. The sellers couldn't make new lows on the DAX. So there's a lot of selling came in there, all absorbed. So next candle will give us an idea as to whether or not it's bullish or bearish, depending on whether we get that next selling flurry come through and whether that holds or not. But it has come a long way down pre-market, so stocks devalued overnight. Okay, so there's a fairly big opening range to play with this morning. We'll leave that for a minute and I'll come back to that. I'll have a look at all the FX pairs. So what I've got on at the moment, Aussie New Zealand long. That's come out the 4-hour extension. Obviously just looking basically for a continuation trend. This is the line in the sand at the moment. So looking for this higher low to hold, and then looking for either a triple top or a new high to form. At the moment, we had a nice push up yesterday on that one. A little bit of a pullback going on so far this morning, and then hopefully a continuation to the upside. Loads of selling coming in. So just trying to make a new low. Nasdaq's not even looking back. Neither is the S&P. So all the US markets are looking really heavy this morning. So if we pull back into this range, I would be a bit wary. It's worth a pending order under the lows if we do that. Assuming that we're going to go the same way as the US markets with the DAX, but looks like the DAX going out the gates anyway, so yeah, big selling. Very heavy, maxed out across the board, pretty much. We are now, apart from, come on DAX and Russell. Big sales. So we may see some US dollar strength this morning. There we go. Not boding well for the US dollar yen. It looks like we've got some yen strength on at the minute. Just turn the crickets down a little bit while I'm talking. So yeah, so I'll just go through what we were covering yesterday. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, long. Just holding that one at the moment. Just got the one position on that. Euro CAD. Just got the one position on that at the moment. I've taken one off, just because we are bouncing off these lows down here. So this is the area, as I said, I was interested in holding. We smashed through it, and we are just continuously bouncing off of this low during the end of the US session yesterday. We came down and tested it this morning. So I woke up, saw this, and I was like, well, looks like this is potentially acting as support. So I wanted to exit one just to put it in the bank. We pulled up and pushed back down again. So if we get this break of the Asian low today, I suspect we're going to come down and do one of these gap fills today. Potentially a 125 ADR. I don't know if we've got enough strength to get down there. We've got obviously this afternoon the CAD CPI. At 1:30, so that's going to be the catalyst. If we can get a positive figure out of the CAD this afternoon, which is forecast, we'll get a strong move on the CAD, which will dump the Euro CAD this afternoon. So that's what I'm hoping for. So we might well see an accumulation or a slight pullback this morning, but the market structure is slowly shifting to the downside. But it's ever so gradual. So looking for a pullback this morning that doesn't break yesterday's high, and then a continuation back down this afternoon on CAD news. So that's looking pretty good. Obviously, target on that is you know, it's the euro. So Dune. Euro US dollar. I've got 2 on that, and pound odd. So Euro US dollar. I've got 2 on that now because I've just added one. Took one off of this morning as well on that one. Just wanted to get it in the bank, as we were coming basically down. Had a nice profit on it. Just wanted to stick it in the bank to get the 0.5% in today, really. We've just pushed down and tagged me into my third position on that one. So the second one's still running in profit. Third position basically. I was just looking to add as we dropped, with the target being back down at these lows based on US dollar strength. So we've got a nice bit of US dollar strength coming in this morning. As long as the indices continue to collapse, we should get some continued strength on the US dollar. So adding into that, looking to get out down here somewhere with this position. And then obviously we'll have a look at where we are when we get down there, see how extended we are and what happens when we get down there. Pound odd, that one's the one that's in DD at the minute, being held up there. So the plan on this one was to get the drop off of the figures this morning. We didn't. So got 2 positions on, and we're pushing back up into the 72. We're basically heading into this massive balance area. So we're going to find sellers in here. Whether or not they've got enough to reject it back down again, I'm not sure. So I'm just going to play this one by ear. I don't want this to go into a range. If we go into some hideous range, because bear in mind we've got a weak currency against something that's kind of weak at the minute in the Aussie, we could well just go into a hideous range. So I'm going to monitor this one. If by sort of Friday we haven't really gone anywhere, I'll probably scratch it. And US dollar yen long. So US dollar yen, obviously we've got a strong US dollar this morning, fairly strong, and US dollar yen is holding up fairly nicely, but it's in profit. I've taken one off as we pushed, and got that one on at the moment at break even, as you can see. So if we pull back down today, I'm just going to escape that one. I'm still very wary of the yen at the minute. You know, every part of my being is saying yes, you want to do it, but we're so high on the US dollar yen, and I'm just worried about Kuroda coming in at any moment and just basically saying, right, this is it, we've had enough, we're not devaluing anymore, we're gonna slow down the bond purchase. It's just all gonna kick off. So being a bit cautious with the yens, which is why I took the Swiss yen off completely yesterday. ADRs today, New Zealand dollar overnight. We've had some, obviously as you can see, some catastrophic moves to the downside, which has hit ADR. There you go. New Zealand dollar Swiss has just hit as well, which has hit ADRs across the board. I'm not quite sure what this is. I couldn't see anything on the New Zealand dollar overnight that was particularly interesting. We had a trade balance in exports and imports. The negative trade balance, that's why. Yeah, okay. So it's a negative trade balance on New Zealand. Basically, they've pretty much imported the same as they've exported, so they haven't made any money. Yeah. So that's all that is. It's just a negative reaction to that news. I don't think it's that bad, but anyway. So next leg down on the New Zealand dollar. So again, continued weakness on the New Zealand. So Euro New Zealand obviously has spiked. I'd like to take a Euro New Zealand short. If this gets extended on the RSI on the 4 hour, I'll probably get interested in getting into this. If we can try a triple top on it. We've got a month to go until the rate changes on the Euro. So we've still got time for the Euro to stick neutral and for everybody to start battering it down, but we will potentially see an increase in power in the Euro coming up. So at the moment we've got a very weak Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. Obviously the New Zealand dollar is weakened even further. So it's whether or not that is going to continue. I don't know why it's dropped quite so much on trade balance news, but looking for the range, basically you can see that we're obviously, from a market structure perspective, we've got the peak formation low in there, and we've basically put in what looks like very slow bullish market structure, but the next leg up is going to take us to that triple top. So if we can get a push up maybe to 150 ADR today, that's probably a nice little short, but only short term. Would look for it to pull back into this propulsion gap maybe, and then possibly continue back out to the upside. So not a particularly amazing opportunity, I don't think. M5 reversal alert's going to be fair way into the day, isn't it? So you're probably looking at a third of an ADR before you even get an alert on it. It's not a particularly good looking trade to me. So we've got that one, which is extended. The pound New Zealand. This is better. I prefer a weak pound. Kind of missed it already, so I haven't quite missed it. So we're bouncing off of 100 ADR, lovely M pattern formation up at the ties, up at the highs. We've taken out kind of the Asian level, really. That was the top of the Asian level. We pushed up in London. So we're just about to get a reversal on that one short, pound New Zealand. I've got already my pound odd on, so I can't really take that one, but that's a good looking short opportunity, pound New Zealand. Pound odd and pound New Zealand are virtually the same thing. I've got 2 positions on that one already, so I'm not going to get into another one on that, but that's a good looking ADR reversal this morning, pound New Zealand. If you're not in the pound odd already, or if you want to double up, you can do, but you're going to find very similar price action forming on both of these. So it's dodgy, this MT4. Nice M pattern off that reversal alert, retest. So looking for a good drop on that one, as well as the pound New Zealand. New Zealand dollar Swiss massively extended to the downside. We don't want to be getting in front of the Swiss franc at the moment. Remember yesterday, we'll have a look at all the Swissies in a minute, but we've been talking about the Swiss franc for the last few days since that drop. Are we or aren't we going to fade it? The decision has been made by the New Zealand dollar in this case. We are not going to fade that. So yeah, don't really want to get in front of the Swiss franc at the moment. Let's just have a quick look at what the rest of the Swissies are doing. Yeah, they are melting. Not so much melting. The Aussies come down hard as well. Look. Yeah, the Swissie's strong at the moment. I don't want to get in front of this. I don't think this fade is going to happen. I don't think we're going to get that fade. If you're in this fade, I'd be very careful. If you're going to use a stop, it doesn't matter, does it? You're just going to get stopped out. It's a lovely risk-reward trade. But I get the feeling we're just going to sit here and accumulate. We're waiting. Basically, all we're doing at the moment is we're rolling over here constantly, and we are just going to, I think, just roll out the bottom. When they've got their book big enough on it, they're just going to move it. So don't like the look of that New Zealand or Swiss either. And New Zealand dollar yen. So yen's obviously weak at the moment. We are having a little bit of a push on the yen this morning, as you can see. US dollar's holding up very nicely against it. So if that yen weakness drops, we should get a nice pop on that. So yeah, New Zealand dollar obviously coming down a little bit harder against the yen. Continued yen strength to break those highs at some point. So this is a nice pullback long, New Zealand dollar yen. Assuming that we get more yen weakness, but at the moment the New Zealand is weaker than the yen. So at the moment, based on that trade balance news, we're just getting this temporary pullback, but I would expect this one to push. But as I said, the CAD yen and the other yens like the US dollar yen are better bets. So this is a good looking ADR reversal. We're already extended on the day. Obviously this is an Australasian pair against an Australasian pair, so you're not really or an Asian pair, if you like, Asian session pair. So you're not going to get a massive amount of movement during the London and New York sessions on it, but we should see some decent movement coming off of the Asian session tomorrow morning. Just seeing if we've got any news that's going to affect them. Bank holiday tomorrow in New Zealand. No, there's nothing else. So yeah, we should be good for a move on that one. So looks good for longs, New Zealand dollar yen. I've got negative. I'm already the other way on the New Zealand dollar. And I've got yen on, so I'm not really interested in taking that on this morning. So that's all your ADRs. Nothing's hit weeklies yet. Wednesday, nothing's hit weekly. Morning Neo. So yeah, nothing to talk about there. Hourlies, we've got a few opportunities. Euro New Zealand, obviously, we just looked at. There's an ADR hit. That's pushed up, extended on the hourly. It's a real, look at it on the hourly, it's a bit of a choppy mess. We go through days of going nowhere and then we get these moves. So it's a difficult one to call. It's kind of bullish at the moment. We've got more selling coming in. It is kind of bullish at the moment. So I don't think we're going to get too much higher out of here because this is going to be a triple top. So a lot of the time we will have a pullback off of there and then potentially have a run up. So the fourth knock on the door tends to be the one where you bash the door down. We'll probably get a reaction up there. So you could take one here and potentially get in with a really tight, sort of less than half an ADR apart entry if up there. Or the better play really, I think, is to wait until we get up there and then try and short it from there. Depends whether or not the market wakes up today and sees all this New Zealand dollar weakness, looks at the trade balance and actually says, yeah, we don't like it. They may well push this easily up to 125, 150 today. If we get up in that area, I'd be interested in shorts on this one. but it is extended on the hourly. So, you know, there's a good chance we are going to get that drop come back down, but we could well get exactly the same as we're seeing here. Run up, accumulation, run up. So that's really where I'd be much more interested in this. And we should sort of, second time getting up RSI extended, take a short. But you could get in now. It's coming off of ADR fairly nicely. So you've got this big candle here. Obviously, if we break this low, you're off, which is roughly, this is the hourly low we just looked at. So your 5-minute alert is not far off of what the hourly is it? Take either of those really. So Euro New Zealand's hit, pound New Zealand, obviously it's all New Zealand. Hello. My pound odd's coming back down nicely. Yeah, so pound New Zealand, you missed it. If you didn't jump into that 10 minutes ago when I was covering it, you've missed it. So yeah, you're either in it or you're not. New Zealand dollar CAD, nice extension, obviously to the downside on this one. We're very, very, very deep on this. If you look at previous extensions we've had recently, we've kind of got down to the sort of 25 level a couple of times, and you know we've got bounces out of those areas eventually, but it's been very, very weak, the New Zealand dollar, mainly New Zealand dollar CAD, mainly because of the CAD strength. So today, obviously, we're very nicely extended down there, but we've got CAD CPI this afternoon. So you're getting into something extended, trying to mean revert something that could well have positive news coming out. We had positive retail sales yesterday for the CAD. If we get positive CPI for the CAD today, you're going to see this obviously push, you know, probably 150, 175 ADR, maybe even get down to these lows. So it's a risky one. I'd probably steer clear of it, just because we've got the news. If the news comes out negative, obviously, you'll probably find it has a nice push up, but it's very difficult to call. So when you're trying to take a mean reversion trade, the whole premise of mean reversion trades is waiting for everybody that's bought to sell. So everybody that's bought in this run up has to sell. Everybody that's bought in this run up has to sell. Everybody that's sold in this rundown needs to buy to get out. No one's going to do that if you get positive CAD news. They're going to be buying the CAD, which is going to dump this. So you're trying to mean revert something which has got a 50-50 shot of going either way, rather than just letting market structure play out because everybody that's sold's got to buy to get out of their positions. People that have sold anywhere up here at the moment are going to be break-evening in their positions in the hope that we get positive CAD news this afternoon. So not necessarily going to be a profit take on it. So I wouldn't particularly get interested in that one just yet. It's nicely extended and it could well go. But it's going to be news related rather than just profit taking related, I think. So New Zealand dollar CAD, New Zealand dollar Swiss again, it's ADR hit, it's come off very, very nicely. Nice bounce off of ADR there. But it's the Swiss franc. And I just don't want to get in front of the Swiss franc at the minute. But you can. This is where we were looking for the fade. The fade could cap him from here. This could be the fade. Let's have a look at where we are from a levels perspective on this. Yeah, so we've broken the level that we were expecting. So from an institutional perspective, institutions trading off of higher time frames, longer holds, dailies, weeklies, 4 hourlies. A liquidity run on these sorts of levels tends to be somewhere between half an ADR to an ADR. So anybody that's entered long there and is holding long-term investment, if there are any, obviously their liquidity's been taken out there. It needs to move half an ADR to an ADR to do that. We've got 72 ADR and we've put in roughly a 30 ADR run on it. So personally what I think we're going to get is that sort of movement, because I think we're going to see sustained Swiss franc strength. But you know, these gaps get filled, but fundamental shift gaps don't get filled as much. They get left behind an awful lot more, and this is a fundamental unexpected rate change on the Swiss. So I wouldn't want to be fading it unless it's showing you signs of, yes, we are going to fade this, and at the moment this is not saying we're fading it, is it? So not interested in that one either. New Zealand dollar, US dollar is a short, so not really interested in this extended to the downside. I'd be more interested in pullback and short on that one, just holding this area at the minute. So there's your hourlies, not a lot there of interest. 4 hourlies, Aussie dollar Swiss. Again, Swiss franc, don't want to be long in the Swiss franc. Swissy yen, don't want to be shorting the Swissy yen. New Zealand Swiss, don't want to be longing the New Zealand Swiss. Nothing of interest. So there's nothing on the ADRs there. Sorry, on the RSIs of any interest at the moment. I'm kind of positioned on everything that I want to be positioned on at the moment. I covered all the FX pairs in detail on Monday and yesterday. I'll have another whiz through all the FX pairs now. If there's anything anybody wants to look at in more detail, let me know. Or if there's anything that you're in, I can go. Excuse me. I can go through it in more detail. So pound odds pulling back nicely. Euro Swiss is running away. Euro US. Okay, so that US dollar strength has waned. So yeah, we got a lot of rejection on the DAX. Still made new lows on the Nasdaq. So slowed, market slowed. If you're short on this, I'd be a little cautious. It's looking a bit bullish at the minute. See if we get some signs of some strength coming through here. I haven't been paying attention to what was going on over there. So just going to quickly run through everything and have a quick look, see if there's anything of interest. So Aussie dollar CAD, nice breakdown there. Obviously that is a short, so not interested in anything down there at the minute. Aussie Swiss, not interested in the Swissies. Aussie New Zealand already in it on a buy. Aussie yen is pulling back. I don't really want to take any more yen on at the minute. Aussie US pushing down. We are short on this one, so the entry obviously would have been on this pullback. Didn't quite get to the 24, so if it was up in here I'd be more interested in it, but at the moment not really interested in shorting it when it's down there. It has just trying to break this low and struggling, so if this low holds, we might well see an accumulation building there with an opportunity to get in short. Not trading against the Swissy at the minute. Anything CAD related, obviously, you can look at today. It's difficult to tell what's going to happen with the CPI figures. We could go positive, we could go negative. It's very difficult. There's obviously a trend of positivity on it, but it's difficult to tell what's obviously going to happen at the moment. We're in a very different time with inflation at the moment, so I suspect we'll probably get something positive from the CAD, which means moves down on everything, or rather CAD Swiss will get a move up. Whether or not that's going to be strong enough to get anywhere near this gap, I don't know, but this is such a massive move. When you look at things like this, obviously this is the low. The market structure has shifted in a very small way back to positivity, so this could well be the exact spot you want to be buying this one, but you're going to find you're not going to get much movement until the news happens, and you're going to be reliant on CAD Swiss, on the CAD being positive on the news. So this is actually not a bad looking little long opportunity here, getting in now, and you just literally want to stop under there. You're either going to get that run up starting, or you're not. So if you do get the run up starting, in fact, if you want to play it really safe, you want to go somewhere down there. So your risk is going to be there. Your reward is potentially all the way up there in the next couple of days. So you're looking at somewhere in the region of 65 pips to 170 odd from a risk reward perspective. So it's a really good risk reward on it, about 2.5. But it's against the Swiss franc, which is slightly risky, and obviously with the CAD, you are reliant on this coming out as a positive for the CAD to get the CAD movement up. It could just go the other way, but it's a good stop loss trade, good risk reward. If you want to be super aggressive on this, take that reversal alert with a 30 pip stop. You got a huge risk reward on that if it decides to go. Bear in mind, obviously, we're not likely to go more than sort of 80-90 pips today. This would be getting back up into here, would be this week, not today. But yeah, looks good. We've stalled out down here. The thing that worries me about this is if we are going to get this positive move, everybody that has gone long since we bottomed, yeah, everybody that's in this, everybody that's in that breakout there, everybody that's entered there has stopped under here, everybody that's entered there has stopped under here. Isn't that a tempting target to take before you do that? Which would be wick off spring. So yeah, it's just, this is one of this, you know, it stops. If you use stops, you're going to get hunted. That's the way the game works. So you're taking that risk, but you also, if you get very, very, very positive figures on the CAD, you'll find that they will just dump money into the CAD, and the CAD will just go. So you won't get any of that movement. So potentially good looking long on the CAD Swiss, only because of the news. CAD Yen, not really interested in anything on the CAD Yen at the minute where it is. Swiss Yen, not interested. Yeah, so Swissy. Euro odd, we've looked at. So I'd much rather see an ADR hit on this. If we get an ADR hit on the Euro odd, I'll be interested in that one. In fact, what I'm going to... Let me just have a look at Euro odd. Uh, 15. So it's roughly half, just under half an ADR. I'm just going to put a pending sell limit up there on Euro odd, just below ADR. If we get up to there, I will jump in short, assuming that we're going to get that bounce, and then won't be looking to get out too deep on it. You know, just pull back somewhere around 50% of that move, maybe. If it just goes into a reversal alert today, I'll be happy to take a short, and then that will be my second entry up there. So I quite like that short at the minute, Euro odd. Just because it's pushed up fairly well on Australian dollar weakness. So, you know, we've got a fairly decent move going, and I think we've got some downside due, and we've got some Australian strength, I think, coming at some point soon. So I like it. I just like it. I like the euro short at the minute. And if we do get up to that level, we're going to get very close to being extended on the RSI, which means we should get some decent moves back down from this move up. Euro odd going for short one. Euro CAD already in short, so it's holding up nicely. If you want to get into this, pending order under those lows. You've missed obviously the entry up there, but yeah, pending order under yesterday's low. If we go, that should hopefully go down further. Euro Swiss, I don't want to long that one. Euro pound, I'm not really interested in euro pound at the moment. It's too slow and it's not moving far enough. You know, it takes like 3 days to do that. Get the odd pop, but it's just too slow and horrible. Weak currency against a weak currency. Euro yen is the weaker of the yen longs. Not really interested in that. I would be much more interested if we get a retest on that reversal alert. By then we should be coming back down to retest the 24. That is if we don't just get yen weakness and push out the highs. Euro New Zealand. So this is pretty much the same as that Euro odd. So Euro New Zealand or Euro odd, you can take either of these. It's the same thing. You could put a pending order up at those highs there. Or just take a reversal back down. You know, it's fairly slow, but the reason I like this is because we're going to get that top forming, and we've got the double top here on the Euro odd at ADR. So you know, if it gets up to ADR, first thing going for us is it's running out of strength because it's already done its average daily move. Second thing is there's going to be a hell of a lot of orders sitting there exactly like mine, limit orders, wanting to jump in short on it. So they're going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if it manages to push through, we're going to get a pullback on it. So it's a fairly safe trade, Euro odd or Euro New Zealand, I think, based on obviously Euro being weak at the minute as well. Euro US dollar short, putting in a doji at the moment, not surprised after that big push down. So just looking for continuation short. Pound odd short, nice rejection this morning. This was one that was rejecting over and over again, just getting lots of nice wicks to the upside. There's lots of wicks to the downside as well, but looking for that breakdown, assuming that we're going to get continuation weak pound. Really could do with some Aussie strength rather than Aussie weakness, which is what we're seeing, but the CPI figures were neutral for the pound today, so would expect it to continue on its expected direction, which is south. Pound CAD, same thing. It's pushing down nicely off of the back of the news, and obviously CAD strength. Swiss franc killing everything at the minute. Not interested in longs. Pound's coming down again. This is the weakest yen, so looking for that sort of movement on that one. Pound New Zealand's not going anywhere. No idea. Pound US dollar, looking for shorts on this. That was the entry there. Didn't quite pull back enough. I'm on the Euro US dollar short, so if you'd have taken that Euro US dollar or the Pound US dollar yesterday, they've both done what we were expecting them to do. So looking for a retest of that low and potentially break through that low. New Zealand CAD's coming down nicely off the back of the CAD, so everything yesterday we were looking for CAD, everything short against the CAD yesterday, that's all played out. Hence obviously why I put that in the bank yesterday. New Zealand Swiss not going against the Swissy. New Zealand yen is, again, this is looking very much like the pound, isn't it? The pound and the New Zealand very weak at the moment for some reason. That trade balance has really upset them. Don't know if that's a knee-jerk reaction and just a pullback, but I'm expecting continuation weakness on the yen, so you should be looking for longs. If you're looking for longs, this is kind of where you want to be getting in. So we've had a weak retracement rejection. We're looking for, if we can get a 150 ADR on this today, I'd be interested. So if we get any kind of yen strength this afternoon, that's probably a good looking entry. Even if you come back up and retest that double top, you've got some decent profit there. So New Zealand yen, not quite there yet, want it to get a bit further down. New Zealand US is a short, that's just already playing out. US CAD, tricky. US CAD's a real mystery at the minute because it's a long against a long, and it's difficult to know who's going to take control of this. At the moment, the US dollar is just really not as strong as it should be. The CAD is going to continue to strengthen on oil, so it's kind of a little bit bearish, this one, but the fact that we came off of that double top so strong, I'm thinking potentially that, but also you've got the danger at the moment of just going into an accumulation for a bit. We've got no news catalysts on the US dollar coming up. We have got news catalysts on the CAD. So potentially this is going to come down this afternoon on CAD news. And it's rejecting quite nicely at the moment. I don't want to short the US dollar though, personally. So, but you can see we've done that weak retracement off of that move. Sorry, no, we haven't. That's that was previous move, so that was off of there. So this new move up to the double top, we haven't retraced back down to 38 yet. So anywhere in that area, we'll be looking for potential longs. So this is a counter trend short at the moment. So not a bad opportunity, dropping down onto lower time frame, waiting for that reversal alert to go short on it. Based on obviously CAD strength this afternoon. You know, everything's always revolves around the news. So you're reliant on the news coming out as expected. If the news doesn't come out as expected, we get a weak CAD. It's going to push up to there, get in with a second position and get out when we get a retracement. US dollar Swiss, ordinarily I would be saying long, but the Swiss franc at the moment, to batter the US dollar back down into there, that is very difficult to call. Again, big currency against a strong currency, sideways, it's going to go one way or the other. Yeah, this is what accumulation is, indecision. Looking at that on the daily chart, it's a doji. Yeah, it's an indecision. It's not a doji on the daily chart, but you can see what I mean. It's we're undecided. We're not sure which way we're going to go at the moment. We haven't been for the last 4 days. When we break out, we're going to go one way or the other fairly quick. But at the moment, this is your control candle. Until we get a break of the high or the low and a sustained hold of the high or the low of that, we've got no idea which way we're going on this. So it's basically, if you want to, you can take a gamble on it. High or low. Every trade is a gamble, isn't it? If you think about it. People say, I say it as well, you know, mainly about people that have got a $100 account and are putting on like 0.1 lots long and short. They are gambling, basically. You're trying to gamble that account up. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, every trade is a gamble. Every person that's trading is gambling. You're gambling on a positive or a negative outcome. It's red and black. It's all gambling. There's luck involved. So what happens over the next week or so with the US dollar and whether or not they decide to power up or not power up the Swiss franc is going to decide on the direction of that break. Fundamentally, right now, there's your bias. So, you know, really is a pick a direction on that one. US dollar yen long. At the moment we've got a little bit of strength on the yen. We've had that little bit of strength on the US, which has just kind of waned this morning. So we're just kind of rolling over, hopefully for a pullback and continuation long on that one. So that's it. My profit is weaning away at the moment. Everything's pulling back. So just going to monitor everything that I'm in. The only other thing I say I'm interested in getting into potentially today, where's my VPS gone, is Euro odd as a short. So we're either going to come up and we're going to hit my limit at ADR, or I'll take a reversal of that short with a second entry up there if it doesn't drop. So, but this is going to be a fairly short-term trade, this Euro odd. I'm not looking for a lot on it. So you can see what the the range is on this thing. From that high back down to there is kind of a couple of ADR. So if we get up to there, I'll probably take an ADR out of it, 180 odd pips. So come back out, back down at that low. So not a massive trade. Looking to get out somewhere down there. So about half percent, 0.6%. Okay, that's all I've got for today. Be aware, obviously, of not my VPS. Be aware of CAD this afternoon, 1:30. That's our only news. We have got Powell testifying this afternoon. So potential volatility. Obviously, this is also timed coincidentally at market open. So just watch your indices at the open. We could well get a massively volatile open this morning. You'll have a load of people going, "Oh, why are the indices going crazy at the open today?" Because Powell's talking, basically. So just be aware this morning or this afternoon when the US market opens, if you're scalping indices, Powell is going to be talking at the opening bell. So, we may well see some weird price action or some runaway price action going on this afternoon. Tomorrow we've got Euro news and we've got Powell again tomorrow afternoon. We've also got sprinkled throughout the day PMI figures for the pound. We've got PMI for the US dollar, and we've got unemployment as well. So there's a few bits and pieces of news coming out all day tomorrow, so we could have a fairly volatile day across the board tomorrow. So bits of accumulation spikes as all this is released. So fairly decent amount of news coming out, and then Friday we've got retail sales for the pound as well. If we've got negative reaction off of those CPI figures and we get continuation moves down on the pound today and into tomorrow, if we get negative PMIs helping and those retail sales come out as bad, we should see some seriously good drops on the pound, which is why I've got into that pound odd short, because we've got a lot of pound news coming, which potentially has got the potential to absolutely tank the pound and get some really decent moves back down into this propulsion gap down here. So that's why I've got that on, because we've got a very heavy news week on the pound this week. And obviously if we get positive news on the pound, it's probably only going to be spikes. So okay, so that's all for today. There's nothing else particularly interesting. Everything that I've got into this week, I'm kind of in. Exposure is pretty full at the moment. Don't want to get overexposed on anything else at the minute. So I'm kind of hedged on the Australasian pairs at the moment, which isn't a bad thing because one of those is going to play out well, hopefully the Aussie. So yeah, I'm pretty full. The pattern is full at the moment, so I'm not looking to get into anything else apart from that Euro, which is actually going to overexpose me slightly on the Euro, but it's only one. Okay, that's it. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about? I'll be in the Telegram group. Any trades I take, apart from the one you've seen that I'm teeing up for on the Euro odd. If there's anything else I spot throughout the day or anything I take off, I'll put it in the Telegram group. But yeah, that's where I am. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50. Be aware of Powell this afternoon and obviously the CPI. Other than that, the rest of the news is coming out when I'm on the air tomorrow morning. So we'll have a look at what happens with the Euro, with the PMIs in the morning. Okay, have a good one, everybody. Yeah, see you in the morning. Have a profitable one.